What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Horsepower and Bourbon. This is week 7. Sorry, missed last week. I was a little preoccupied getting the car ready to go to the drag strip, since we actually get to go to the drag strip and stuff right now. But before we get into this, talking about booze and cars at drag strips and everything, if you guys would consider hitting that little subscribe button down here, should be a little red square, like right in here somewhere, something like that. Hit that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate that. Helps the channel out. Helps us grow. Maybe one day actually turn it into something. Who knows? You never know. So, let's talk about our special guest this week, which some people in the know will recognize some of this gold top. But this week we are lucky enough to have a Weller Full Proof. This is the first time I'm going to have this. I actually saved it to open it on this episode. So as you can see, not opened. But talk a little bit about it. Weller is a Buffalo Trace product. That's where it's distilled. It actually, let's see how many variations there are of this. There is the Special Reserve, which is right there. Then there is what some people call the Antique, the OWA. The Full Proof now. Then a Weller 12. Then the one, it's a white label. It is, let's see, CYPB. To stand for Create Your Perfect Bourbon. But this is a once a year release from them, and it's allocated. So nice little bottle pop there. So very hard to come by. It's actually not been released in Ohio yet. I had a friend get this one to me, and I'm greatly appreciative of that. So we'll get us a little bit of that going. But the Ohio lottery just actually came open for this bottle. So entered into that. Hopefully can get another one. That way I don't feel real guilty about opening this one. But stuff's made for drinking. So first appearance, it's pretty dark. It's a non-chilled filter. So it comes out and it's a 114, so should be a little spicy to it. See if we can attempt this. I get a little hint of cherry maybe, but coats the glass really good. So let's give her a sip and we'll get going. It's nice. So that'll be one of them that is super, super nice to drink, but very hard to find. So typical. Sadly, it's kind of typical of Buffalo Trace. They're kind of the king of allocation. But it's a good product, so to keep it to a good high standard, I'm sure they got to keep their production levels low, all that kind of stuff. So now let's get into some of the horsepower portion of the episode. So we've been lucky enough that drag strips around here have slowly been opening up. There's been some guidelines we've had to maintain, 3 crew members, 1 driver, so, keep the attendance down, that type of stuff. So, let's see. Week before last, we went to a Saturday track rental, which wound up being kind of riddled with rain. All the people at Edgewater done a phenomenal job. They dried the track twice during this track rental, and for the amount of people and stuff there, it would have been simple for them after the first downfall, like, hey, we're done. But they brought the track back 3 times. Well, got it ready and then fixed it twice, so they had to basically bring a track to life 3 different times, and they did that. Then at the end, finally just washed out. We had buckwheat down there for that, and it just wasn't our thing. I made a mistake on some stuff, and just we got 1 pass for the whole day, and I flubbed that, and so that's racing. Then, this previous week, we went to our normal Friday testing schedule. So we went down there, everything kind of fixed, some changes made, and ready to go. Made our first pass, and I'll put the passes in right after I tell you. Yeah. So here was our first pass. As you can see, we came up, we struck the tire. You know, that's the first time since we put this thing together, we'll put it back together, that we've done that. But, you know, that's part of it. So we came back, made a few small changes, came back up for this pass. And as you can see, kind of the same result. Struck the tire. So then we got ready for our third pass, which slowed the ramp down a lot on the boost, took out some launch RPM, and made a pretty substantial rear shock adjustment change. So we brought that back up, and that is this pass. Which that pass netted us to date our best 60 foot, which was a 118.60. And let's see, I got the time slip here. The rest of it was kind of because we kept a pretty low total boost and a slower ramp in it, so you know, went 510 at 138. So not too bad, you know. On everybody says low boost, I'd call this moderate boost for us. I mean, we still got a pretty good amount of boost to go, but it's not low boost by any means. I think. Then for our fourth pass, I'll put that here. As you can see, struck the tire just a smidge off the line, you know, just a little bit too much launch RPM, a little bit too much boost for that point of the night. Then we had a faulty water pump, essentially, happened, which always sucks to find a broke part, and this is where the Holly actually probably saved us, most likely. You know, IATs went up. We've got the IAT set up to start adding fuel at I wouldn't call it a low temperature, but you know, we run an air to water intercooler, so it's set pretty low. So it started pulling timing, adding fuel, and everything worked out fine. But you know, no real bad heating problems, nothing like that. Nothing really got dangerous by any means. But it was nice to see that all the protections and everything worked. So, but then that was that for the night. You know, I've got to say a massive, massive thank you to, kind of led into that, Brandon Mass of Mass Traction. You know, he's been taking care of Edgewater surface, getting it. I mean, that thing is, bad. It's a bad surface. Then Stan and the entire Winley family that, you know, they've put a lot of time, effort, money into getting this thing going. I'm happy to see that the track can be back open for them to start recouping some of the money that they've invested over the winter to get to where they're at now. But the track is phenomenal. It's only getting better, and you know, we've got, what have we got now? About three weeks before NMRA Atlanta, and since Georgia's open, we're good to go racing. That'll be fun. So we'll have a couple weeks left of testing, and then we probably won't go testing the week prior to the event, probably just more of a nut bolt check of the car, last minute changes that, you know, we will learn during the testing. Just get it ready to go racing. So, but that kind of consumed most of last week. I'm trying to think of if we had anything else kind of cool in here. We've just got a lot of small projects going, which I need to get better about actually filming, but I'll work on that. Sorry. But then wanted to take a minute, then actually talk about buckwheat a little bit more. Everybody saw the car, we've got it kind of plastered out here and there on the old interwebs. It's been in some videos. You obviously saw it in this video. We've not actually talked too much about the owners, Jim and Stephanie. So they came to me, honestly, I don't know how long ago when they first came down to me. It's, I guess, a little over a year and a half, something like that. Jim brought a streetcar here to get finished up. We got that all finished up for him. He took it out to a few local testing tunes, took him to Bowling Green for NMRA, and I think that's where the heads up racing bug hit him. We raced in a Mod Muscle, which is an open comp format, and people want to go fast. They don't want to go down and let off the gas. So him and his girlfriend Stephanie decided, kind of talked a little bit, and they came up with an idea they wanted to go heads up racing. So that's how the black car came to be. We talked about a few different cars, a few different classes, and this car, when they found it. We looked at what was there, what we could do with it, and that's how we wound up picking Renegade to race. It was very, very close, almost ready to go, but we can't leave well enough alone, so we made a bunch of changes, and now we're working those changes out and trying to dial in a car and get it all set up and ready to go. But I do have to say a big thank you to Jim and Stephanie both for trusting me with their investment, the car, letting me, taking my advice, following my lead on stuff. We talk it all out. It's basically a big family kind of dynamic at this point, kind of all sit down at the dinner table, decide what we're going to do, make the plan, put the plan in motion, make it work. So I appreciate them, putting that trust into me, taking my advice, and, it's just getting started. The first NMRA race will be, with the car, be Atlanta, and we'll see where we can go there. When it looks like right now there's 27 or 28 people RSVP'd for the class we'll race in, which is Renegade and Extreme Street combined. So it'll be a very big class, and will be a lot of heavy hitters, and best way to do it, you gotta get out there and do it. That's all it comes down to. It's all the details and all that kind of stuff. But that's about all I've got for this week. It's basically the horsepower, bourbon, and buckwheat, which, you got those three in there, you do an O-tay, you know what I'm saying? But take another sip of this. It doesn't drink like a 140, like a higher proof at all, honestly. It's got a really soft kind of finish to it for such a high proof. Most of them, to me, higher proof stuff kind of has a kind of aggressive finish, but this is actually very, very smooth. Nice oakiness to it. But that's going to do it for this week, guys. Thanks for spending a little bit of time for me. Thanks for spending a little bit of time with me this week. We'll try to get a little better on getting some more content out for you, keeping these more consistent. And little red box right over here says subscribe. Do that if you would. I'd greatly appreciate that. And we will see you guys maybe later this week and next week. I think I might post a video on Friday of some dyno stuff of buckwheat. So, cheers. See you guys next week.